Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully, you're enjoying yourself, enjoying your day. It's the end of the week before the weekend. Hopefully, you have some plans. It's October, mid-October, in the Halloween season. It happens to be Friday the 13th, so hopefully, you watch your favorite horror flick or something like that today or over the weekend to celebrate. I guess. For me, I'm a Scream fan, and I love the Final Destination movies, so I like the horror genre. Let me know if you watch it and what's your go-to movie. But look, you already know why you're here. We're gonna go over some big stories that's happening right now. We gotta talk about Phillies and the Braves because once again, it was the series that everybody was looking at. There's been a lot of, I would say, outside the diamond, a lot of interesting storylines within the series. I said at the beginning, hopefully there's going to be like some 5-game epic series that we were going to witness. Didn't happen. It went 4. But I feel like it was still an intriguing series, so I'll talk a little bit about that. Miles Bridges is in the news again, which I hope at this point, actually I won't say hope, because that might be too much, but I wonder if this may affect his ability to be in the NBA. We'll talk about that. Berhalter and Reyna will be, I guess, in a competitive environment for the first time since the World Cup this weekend against Germany. So obviously Berhalter was asked about how the two of them are. We'll talk about that. Got to give you my week 6 picks, which I normally save for like Saturday some weeks, but I figured today, let's go over them and see if we can have a decent week. I think this week might be a week where I could do pretty well, but we'll see. And then I got to end it with some talk about my Red Sox. There's a report out there about the GM search, so I want to share my opinions on that with you as well. Let's go ahead. Let's get into these. And obviously, look, you know what you need to do. Like, subscribe, share, follow, all that good stuff. Greatly appreciate it. Also, after the video, down in the comment section, let me know your thoughts on any of these topics that I do talk about. Because if you are new here, appreciate you coming through. I try my best. I think at this point, each and every comment that's ever been under my videos, I've responded to. Trying to keep that up. So don't feel like you're going to put your comment there. It's going to go unnoticed. I read them all. All right, so here we go. So like I said, the Phillies eliminated the Braves in 4 games, 3-1. They split in Atlanta, which obviously was what they wanted to do. Get to Philly. Atlanta was trying to do the same thing. Pull the split, force the Game 5 back in Atlanta. Weren't able to do it. I will say, though, I'm not a Phillies fan or anything like that. Those jerseys kind of go hard. I'm not going to lie. I guess it's like the throwback to, was like the 80s or something. But, they're clean. I'll give them that. But these are the 2 teams that a lot of people looked at. Whoever came through this series would probably win the World Series. The Braves, a lot of people say, best run organization in baseball. Phillies, with some of the names that they have in their lineup, a lot of people think might be the most dangerous lineup in the playoffs. I feel like that's where this series was won and lost. Key moments, the Phillies were able to get timely hits. Last night they got 2 solo home runs from Castellanos. I believe Trey Turner hit a home run as well. And it seemed like after, was it game 1? The Braves offense went silent. Because I believe last night their 1 run was off of an Austin Riley home run, but they only had 5 hits. And when you're talking about a lineup that has Acuna, Arcia, Ozuna, Riley, Olsen, you got to do better than that. So, like I said, give Phillies all the credit. But I think the Braves do have some questions to answer. Not saying like they have to like completely, blow it up or anything like that. And maybe it's just this thing that the matchup with the Phillies just is not right for the Braves. Maybe that's it. But I believe I saw a statistic on ESPN last night where they said the Braves are the third team to win over 100 games and not make the World Series or something like that. That is unfortunate because, look, coming out of the regular season, a lot of Braves fans were really believing that this team could pull off, about another title. And who knows, if they got by the Phillies, they'd be looking at the Diamondbacks after the Diamondbacks eliminated the Dodgers. You probably would have said the Braves were the favorite to go into that one. And then if they did make the World Series, it'd probably be against the Astros, who I guess would be the favorite to come out of the American League. Who knows? But like I said in the beginning, I feel like this series is going to be remembered for a lot of the stuff that happened outside the field of play. We saw, what was the last game? Bryce Harper hit his home run, rounding second base. He was standing at Arcia. Arcia was looking down at the dirt, wanted nothing to do with it. I'm sure you've seen the video of Arcia in the dugout. Phillies fans yelling at him getting into it with them. I believe Acuna Jr. is telling him, let it go. So what we have here is we got division foes. We have two teams that now have a little chippiness to it. So this is going to be a rivalry that I think we're going to see for the years to come. I'm here for it. I mean, yes, I am a Red Sox fan. I am in the Atlanta area, so I do pay attention to the Braves. I only think it makes it more compelling. Now, obviously, the Braves came up short, and the Phillies are moving on, so the Phillies have all bragging rights right now. I mean, if you're a Phillies fan, does it mean anything if they don't finish it? Because like I said, the Phillies face the Diamondbacks in the NLCS. The Phillies will and should be the favorite. Although you can't kind of take the Diamondbacks lightly. They swept the Brewers, who were the NL Central champs. They swept the Dodgers, who won the NL West. Just saying. They've taken out some hefty competition. The Diamondbacks are obviously loving the underdog role, so they're going to have that going against the Phillies as well. Now for the championship series, it's now a 7-game series. That brings about now a different dynamic in terms of, scheme and everything like that, utilizing your pitching staff. It's now a longer series, more games you have to factor in. So if you're going to pull a starter early, then how does that affect you later on in this series? So a lot of things that, the manager's going to have to factor in now. But yeah, like I said, I would probably say the Phillies are the favorite to win it all. We'll see, like I said. I know I did a, short form video, I guess is what you're supposed to call it, YouTube short and a TikTok. I believe the poll results were 61-39 Phillies. So obviously, those of you who voted in the poll, the 61% of you got it right. Shout out to you. I'll probably do another one for the NLCS and probably the ALCS as well, just to kind of get more interaction with you guys. Now, I did see some Phillies fans, I guess we're talking about who like the MVP so far would be. I mean, Castellanos was big last night with the 2 home runs. Seemed like he had some timely hits in the series. So maybe him. I mean, I don't know. That was just a conversation I saw between Phillies fans. I thought it was interesting. Because there's a lot of guys who were, part of this series that you could say performed pretty well. And maybe Castellanos is kind of going under the radar right now. And maybe that's more the fact of Castellanos in recent years has been kind of synonymous with the play-by-play guy who, ended up getting fired or something like that, and Castellanos is a part of that quote. That's what I think Castellanos is remembered for now. I mean, it's kind of hilarious, but, it is what it is. So I guess the worry maybe for the Phillies would be the Bryce Harper issue, because late in the game last night, he was covering first. He took the throw from second. His right arm was kind of over the base path. I believe it was Olsen running down the line, kind of kneed him in the back of his elbow. He was, flexing it and everything. When I saw it, I thought maybe Olsen caught like the funny bone, so the little tingling sensation. Maybe that's what Harper was feeling. But obviously, people were going to be worried because that's the elbow he had the surgery on, which I believe is led to the decision to have Harper play first base, because I guess they, don't think structurally it's probably strong enough right now to put him back out in the outfield. So we'll have to see over the coming days if that holds him out of like a game one or something like that. But look, we'll see. We'll see if the Phillies can get it done. Braves fans, look, you got next year. You have all your younger players locked up. So the Braves should be back. But it's always disappointing to see your team lose. Hey, take it from a Red Sox fan. My team's not even in the playoffs. And as we'll talk about later, not necessarily the best news coming out of Fenway Park. Let's keep it going. Miles Bridges. Look. What do we say about him, right? He got in trouble a few months ago with his then girlfriend, domestic abuse or whatever in front of the kids. He pled no guilty, which if you don't know, once again, I'm not a lawyer or anything. I had to look it up to see, everything about that. Bridges pled no contest in exchange for serving no jail time. If you plead no contest, it's like a way of assuming guilt without pleading guilty. I think that's the definition I saw when I Googled it. So clearly he knew he did something, but I guess with his status as an NBA player, he didn't want to go to jail, so this is the deal he worked out. Fine. That's your legal system for you, whatever. Now, you would think with that, he'd probably lay low, play it clean, try to regain his NBA career. So he's serving a 30-game suspension right now. It was 20 games last season. It was going to be the first 10 games this season. He's gone ahead, got himself in the news again. This time, his new current girlfriend in an altercation with the ex-girlfriend, where they're talking about property being damaged. Supposedly, Miles Bridges threw a pool ball at the ex's vehicle, which, I mean, okay. His current girlfriend was supposedly screaming and all this stuff and kicking the car, and now there's property damage and everything going on. And I have it up on here. You can see the little breakdown of it all. The part that is troubling, this is all reportedly, I guess you have to say it reportedly, he's accused of threatening her. And as the quote here is, told police he would take everything from her, withhold child support. What does everything from her mean? Who knows? I mean, withhold child support, like, bruh, come on. Come on. You withholding child support, I mean, yes, it affects the ex-girlfriend. Of course, it does, because obviously she would use some of that money. But now it's kind of like spiting your kids as well. Kind of got to do better than that. Like, the whole situation, it is what it is at this point. Don't need to get too much into the legal aspect of it. But the fact that he's gotten himself in this situation again, I thought after the first one that there was a good chance that Charlotte was going to kind of drop him. He'd be sitting out there in purgatory until some team maybe boldly went after him. Charlotte decided to not only do the opposite of that, but I believe they signed him to like a 1-year deal, which maybe from Charlotte's mind was sign him to a deal, he serves the suspension, comes back on the court, Maybe this all kind of blows away in a couple of years and nobody even thinks about it. But now with this happening, says summons issued violating the protective order, everything like that, there has to be an out for Charlotte. Not saying like Charlotte deserves to be exonerated and all this, because they did make the decision to kind of bring him back into the fold. But between Adam Silver and Charlotte, I honestly think there needs to be some like exempt list that Silver puts him on, where he's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. Whether it's like after this upcoming season he reapplies or something like that. They kind of have to take the NBA away from Bridges at this point. Some of you might say maybe that's a little bit too much, especially for it being all reportedly right now. But this is not a good look for the league. And that's where Adam Silver's interest is ultimately where it lies. Doing what's best for the product. Because that product has a lot of money tied into it from networks and everything like that. Look, Charlotte's not one of these pillar franchises or anything like that. But they're still a part of the business of the NBA. The last thing the NBA needs is, Charlotte going on the road, certain cities, and having like protesting and all that kind of stuff outside. It's not a good look. You don't need Bridges to be some story that's kind of working its way into the season. I believe he has a court date November 13th. So let's say got games going on. Products, whatever. You already know the November 13th hearing and what comes from that is going to be a part of the NBA coverage. League doesn't need that. And for Miles Bridges, maybe he needs to have it taken away from him to fully deal with whatever is going on between he and the ex. Now look, once again, this is reportedly. But also, I believe Bridges turned himself in. So once again, he's assuming some type of, responsibility or culpability, I guess, in all of this. So he did something wrong. I guess we'll probably find out coming weeks or so what exactly happened in this exchange between he and the ex-girlfriend. Because like I said, because it says look, the summons doesn't say if the ex-girlfriend was in the car, which I don't know. Then why were they sitting there? I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. So, Hornets fans, what do you think? What should the Hornets do with Miles Bridges right now? Should they just cut ties with him? Would you be a fan of that? Or do you think they should let it play out? Let the legal process do its thing and then decide after that. That's what I'm interested to hear from you all. And not just Hornets fans. NBA fans, sports fans. If you have an opinion, let me know. What would you do? Once again, if I'm Charlotte, I'm finding a way out right now. That's me. Alright. Let's keep it rolling. Greg Berhalter and Gio Reyna, once again, are in the news. Once again, if you don't know, Berhalter was the coach for the U.S. soccer team during the World Cup. They made it out of the group stage. Everybody was feeling good about them. They lost to the Netherlands in the knockout round. But people were just like, hey, team's taking a step forward. We like what we see. Got the youth movement going. Happy-go-lucky. Then we started hearing that there was some type of thing between Berhalter and Reyna's parents, which led to Reyna kind of not having the role that a lot of people thought on the World Cup team, which led to Berhalter kind of being excused from the position for a little bit. The U.S. went through a whole coach search, ended up bringing Berhalter back. Now, for me, I didn't have a problem with that because I kind of liked where the team was heading under Berhalter outside of the whole Reyna stuff. Which, I mean, I guess however you look at that, some might say maybe Reyna's parents were, what's the term? Like helicopter parents? I think I've heard that term before, where it's kind of like they try to integrate themselves in or try to influence like a coach to the benefit of their kid or something like that. Maybe that's the wrong term. Don't quote me on it. But I think some people were looking at it, maybe that's what's going on. Others looked at it as, if Berhalter's going to have an issue with a guy like Reyna, who's supposed to be a big part of the next generation and the youth movement going on, how can Berhalter keep his job? So, but the fact that they brought Berhalter back, my first inclination was he and Reyna have to be kind of cool with each other if you're going to bring back the guy that caused Reyna all these issues to begin with. Because that would be kind of messed up if, once again, Reyna's supposed to be a big part of what's going on, and you bring back the guy who he may not even like. Not saying like Reyna's the guy, because obviously you have Pulisic, you have other guys who kind of have a bigger voice in U.S. soccer. Like I said, my thought was he's back, they have to be good. Well, we learned from a little bit of a Q&A type session. Berhalter basically said, moving forward, not looking in the past. Okay, that sounds positive to me. Seems like he's saying, look, what happened in the World Cup, misunderstanding, we're looking forward, we're good. Then he went on to kind of compliment Reyna, saying he's doing a great job, he's sharp, looking good, the quality's there. So he's building up Reyna, that's got to be another positive. Then Pulisic comes in and says, their relationship's been kind of good for a while now. Not a big deal. And that right there, if you're a U.S. fan, should make you feel really good about this. I can't say all of them, because I think I think there's a good section of U.S. soccer fans that kind of wanted to move on from Berhalter. Like I said, I'm fine with Berhalter being back, but I also wouldn't have minded if they did replace him. If that makes any sense. Like I said, I thought Berhalter was fine for the job he was doing, but I did not like what I was hearing, what was coming up about what was going on with Reyna. So that's why I was like, I understood why U.S. Soccer made him kind of step down. They had their coaching search. I know that they wanted like Jesse Marsh. Didn't happen. There was the dude from Crystal Palace. His name escapes me right now. But I think kind of late in the process before Berhalter came in, he said he might have been interested in the job. And I was like, okay, I could see that. A guy with Premier League ties bringing maybe something over to the U.S. squad. Because the dude also coached in MLS before going to Crystal Palace, so he kind of can bridge both worlds. But they ultimately decided to bring back Berhalter. Like I said, I'm fine with that because I was like, if he and Reyna kind of get past this, all good. That's what it seems like we're hearing. But I guess we'll finally know how they really are this weekend. I believe Saturday afternoon they play Germany. Will Reyna be in the starting 11? If not, is he going to be a super sub? Will he be given legit playing time? If the game kicks off, Reyna's not in the starting 11, and it's like a 86-minute type situation where he puts Reyna in, I think that'd be a bad look. I'm assuming the way Berhalter's talking about him in the quote here, it seems like Reyna's going to be in the starting 11. Or at least it's progressing that way. But it's definitely something I'll be keeping my eye on. Because like I said, Reyna is going to have to be a factor into the U.S.'s build-up to 2026 World Cup. He just has to. He's too talented to not be a factor. And if this means that Berhalter's realized that and put whatever issues behind him that he had with Reyna at first, fine. More power to both of them. And I'm hoping that it works out. Like I said, we'll see this weekend what happens against Germany. All right, so to the NFL, we got Week 6. Started Thursday night, of course, with Chiefs-Broncos. Chiefs made it interesting, where Denver had the late touchdown and the two-point conversion to make it 16-8. I know, captivating score. So I was like, oh no, do not tell me the Chiefs are going to do this again. Because it was the week before I picked the Chiefs to cover against the Jets. They had the lead. Mahomes was walking into the end zone and then gave himself up at the 1 or 2, ran the clock out. Jets ended up covering. But the Chiefs went down, got a field goal to make it 19-8, which is an 11-point win, which means they did cover the 10.5. Which is why I'm so wary of double-digit spreads. You just have to be cautious with those. Went 7-8 last week, but I'm off to a 1-0 start this week. That's good. So quickly, just to run down my picks here, I've got the Titans +4 over in London against the Ravens. I think it's going to be a game where Tennessee runs the ball a lot, kills the clock. And I think they keep it very close. So give me the Titans +4. I've got the Niners -9.5. It's Cleveland because Deshaun Watson's not playing. Plain and simple. I got the Commanders +2.5 at Atlanta. Look, it's kind of a risky pick because Atlanta seems to find ways to win at home. And you figure if they do win, at worst, there might be a field goal difference. But I do think it's going to be interesting with Washington being able to play the run so well. How does that change Atlanta's game plan? But I'm taking Washington +2.5 because of that defensive front. Here we go with another double-digit spread. I'm going with the Dolphins -14 against the Panthers. Panthers are struggling. Dolphins click on offense. I think that one could get kind of ugly. I've got the Bears +3. The Vikings just put Jefferson on IR. A lot of stuff circulating about them having a fire sale. So I just don't know what the mentality of the team is right now. Given the Bears coming off of a couple of decent performances from Justin Fields, I'll take them +3. I've got the Jags -4.5 against the Colts, which is risky as well because seemingly when these two teams get together, a lot of odd things happen. But no Anthony Richardson. You got Minshew with a revenge game, but Jacksonville has to win this one, right? They're coming up, they're coming off the win over the Bills over in London. So maybe there's something about them spending the last 2 weeks in London and coming back. Maybe that affects them a little bit. I'll take the Jags -4.5. I've got the Texans +1.5 against the Saints. I know the Saints looked really good against my Patriots last week. I just like what Houston's doing. I think Houston's defense will get to Carr. It's in Houston, and I think CJ Stroud bounces back from a bit of a mid game against Atlanta. I've got Bengals -2.5 against the Seahawks. Probably the toughest pick I had to make because I like both teams so much, but I'm a believer in what the Bengals did last week. Burrow looks so much better, and with that, we saw that passing attack become potent once again. I feel like that continues against the Seahawks, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks pull off an upset there. Look at this. All right, so on the big three, I said I'm not picking the Patriots again. What I meant, if you did see that, was for my picks on the big three, I'm refusing to use Patriots games. That's just where I'm at right now. But obviously for this, I pick every game. Can't avoid it. Maybe I'm crazy. I just have some weird feeling. This week, the Patriots figure out something and they get a win. So I'm taking the Patriots +2.5 at that House of Horrors against the Raiders where last year. We remember how that game ended with the lateral from Myers, and Myers is in Vegas now. Whatever, but Patriots find a way. So give me them plus the 2.5. I've got the Bucks plus 3 against the Lions. I think that might surprise some. The Lions are on the road. Lions play much different on the road than they do at home. And I kind of said before the season, the Bucks and Baker Mayfield will play better than people thought. They're 3-1 and have been playing some pretty good football. I think it could be a sneaky game of the week type, but give me the Bucks plus 3. I've got the Rams minus 7 over the Cardinals. The Cardinals play tough, yes, but I don't think they have enough to kind of play and get the win here or anything like that. Now, a 7-point spread is tricky because I could see the Cardinals keeping it very close, maybe like, in the 3 to 6 range. And maybe I need like a late field goal or something from the Rams to get over the 7. But I think the Rams are the better team. I think Stafford's a better quarterback, although he's had an up and down season. So I'll take the Rams minus the 7. I'll take the Eagles minus the 6.5 at the Jets. Yes, Jets fans, I know that you're all pumped about Zach Wilson. Eagles are the better team. I think that Eagles defense will rattle Zach Wilson this week. Give me the Eagles. This craziest spread I've seen all season so far. You got the Bills minus 15.5 against the Giants. No Daniel Jones. That was kind of confirmed today. So I believe it's Tyrod Taylor starting. Once again, it's another revenge game. Tyrod Taylor going against a former team in Buffalo like Minshew. Now with the Colts going against the Jags. That's, like I said, big spread. Almost 16. But it's asking a lot for Tyrod Taylor to come in off the bench. With all the issues the Giants have up front, the offensive line, and their wide receiver position, go up to Orchard Park and keep that game close. I know the Bills are losing. They lost Tre'Davious White. They lost Matt Milano. I don't think there's any way the Giants make this competitive. So give me the Bills minus a 15.5. And finally, the Monday night game. I'm taking the Chargers in this one. I think the Chargers will spread the ball out on offense, give that Cowboys defense a lot to worry about. And I just can't put a lot of faith in Dak Prescott in the offense right now to keep up with a Chargers team that I think will be able to score a little on the Cowboys. So give me the Chargers plus the 2.5. And then my final prediction, the Browns at Niners. I'm going over 35.5. Well, it's my bold prediction. A lot of people look at this as the Browns have a really good defense. They might be able to corral the Niners offense a little. And with the Cleveland offense with no Deshaun Watson, it'll probably be a struggle to score for them. So 35.5, it could be an under situation. I'm going over because I think it could be a game where it's like a 27-10 type of deal. Niners win. So because of that, I'm taking the over 35.5. So those are my picks for week 6. Later on I'll have it up on TikTok and everything. But let me know, comment section, what do you think? What do you think my record will be this week? Any picks you think I'm way off on, let me know. Or if there's any picks that you appreciate, let me know as well. And now the final story of the episode. My Red Sox. So this is John Henry. There was a report earlier today that, they're trying to find a new GM. They let Chaim Bloom go, which I felt like was the move that needed to be made, to be honest. But now the talks are, they're having troubles interviewing people. That's not good. Not what I wanted to hear. So they interviewed, what's his name? Eddie Romero, who was the assistant GM, so it's in-house. Which, fine, because I heard a lot of people say Romero would be a good candidate. He's kind of been in the organization for a few GMs, so he can kind of fit different types. Different types of mentality. Whether it's going all in, selling off the farm, building a farm, he's kind of experienced it, which is fine. But I was kind of thinking that it would be a job that might have been coveted around the league because you're in a big market like Boston, a passionate fan base. The roster isn't like completely voided of talent. You got Rafi Devers on a new deal. You still got Trevor Story. There's guys to work with. But as the report said, people around the league are worried about kind of the front office and how unstable it kind of seems from the outside. Once again, not something you want to hear about your team. And part of it is the Alex Cora, problem that people have. The Red Sox have already come out and said Cora will be back for at least 2024. So if you're a GM who was looking at the job and you're wanting to take the job, but if your pitch is going to be, I have this guy who I want to be manager, apparently that doesn't work because Cora's been, guaranteed next season at least. Plus, the Heim Bloom stuff, maybe that's turned some people off to the job. He took it. The first move that he made was the Mookie Betts deal. I think some people were like, that was ownership forcing them to do it because of whatever. I don't know. So that's where we're at with the Red Sox search. They've had Romero, like I said, interview. Now, supposedly they said that there's Michael Hill, who used to be with the Marlins, that the Red Sox are interested in. Don't know if Hill's actually interested in the job or not. But he's a guy who, if he came in, for the Marlins organization, something you would have to give him credit for is they put together talented groups there. It's just the problem is the owners in Miami, previously the Florida Marlins, usually make the GM sell off a lot of pieces because they like to be cheap, right? And if you don't believe it, you can see from the teams that they've had who won the World Series and how quickly those teams get dismantled. They're not an organization that looks to keep young pieces long term, pay out a lot of money. They don't do that. And apparently that's something that Hill had to deal with. Because look, he's had a track record of having guys like D. Gordon, Kristen Yelich, and other guys down there. A lot of those guys aren't with the team anymore. So I think he would be interesting if he's interested, which I guess we probably will learn over the weekend whether or not he's interested in the job. But yeah, definitely was troubling to see that this is the state of the Red Sox job. Hopefully they get somebody soon, because I would like to see them put a GM in place and kind of understand where that GM's philosophy is going to be with the offseason. Them finishing in last, once again, cannot fly. And whoever the next GM is going to have to make some decisions and find pitchers. That's what the team really needs. Find a starting rotation somewhere. But like I said, we'll see over the next coming weeks what happens. But yeah, so that's all I got for you. Thanks for tuning in. And as I said, let me know what you think about all the stories I talked about. Give me your thoughts about Miles Bridges, MLB playoffs, Berhalter, Gio Reyna, U.S. soccer in general, my picks of the week in the NFL, and Red Sox fans, if you're tuning in, what do you think about this report? And do you have anybody in mind who you would like to see get the GM job? Also, one last point that is, Hayes and the guy in Arizona recently signed an extension, so he's not coming to Boston. I think he was a guy that Boston probably would have loved to have gotten. But one, the Diamondbacks are still in the playoffs, so it would have been a while till they could talk to him anyway. But that's neither here nor there. So let me know down in the comment section. Appreciate you for tuning in. Like I said at the top, please like, subscribe, share, follow, all that good stuff. Greatly appreciate it. My socials will pop up at the end of the video. Follow me on those as well. If you're into, gaming and watching me play, check me out over on Twitch, where I play EA Sports FC or EAFC 24, some Madden, just if you're into that, follow me there. Like I said, the other socials, you'll get episodes and clips and stuff. Also, another way for you to interact with me. So, would greatly appreciate that. So, I'll leave you with, thanks again for tuning in. Be safe out there. Take care of yourself. God bless, and I'll see you in the next episode. All right, I'm out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day.